In this video, we're going to walk through the steps to add a plan to our company. So from the company homepage, navigate to the tab Benefits, and from here, find the link in the upper right-hand corner that says Add Plan. We can see that there are a variety of ways to add plans into Employee Navigator's system, but for our purposes today, we're going to create a new plan by starting from scratch. Here we'll see a list of available plan options, but for our purposes today, we'll focus on just adding one quick medical plan. So we'll select Medical. From here, we'll see we have just two components of information that need to be added, including the carrier, as well as the plan name. Here, we'll select our carrier as United Healthcare. We can begin to type that in and then scroll down and find the carrier needed in our list. And then our plan name is going to be client-facing or employee-facing. So we want to make sure that we're giving this the appropriate name. So here, I'm going to call this my 23-24 UHC Choice Plus. Once I've entered my name, I'm going to select Save. Now we can see we need to add some details about the plan. First thing we're going to notice here, though, is that we have a little red icon next to the plan name. This is Employee Navigator's checklist to help you determine the elements that must be completed in order to activate this plan. We can see here as we hover over, it was incomplete, and as we select that icon, we can see what information is required under each section of our plan build. As we complete these items, we'll see those change from red to green. Anything you're seeing with the warning symbol is simply an indicator that it's recommended to add, but it's not required. We can close out of here and begin to enter our policy information. We already have our plan name. Our plan type we can select from the drop-down menu. We're going to select that this is a point of service plan. Our carrier is set. We don't need to add any additional information except for the plan start date. And we're going to set this to be a 10/1/2023 plan. And we can see here, Employee Navigator automatically calculated a 1-year end date of 9/30/2024, as well as a plan renewal date of 10/1/2024. Scrolling all the way down to the bottom, again, additional information can be added but is not required. Simply select Save to save the information on this page. Once our save is successful, we can now navigate to the left to select Communications. Communications are not required. However, additional information can be added to provide employees with helpful information. For our purposes today, we're going to focus on eligibility and enrollment and those eligibility rules. The eligibility rules will control which employees are eligible to see and enroll in the plan, as well as allow controls to help the system calculate the employee's effective date and understand what we need to do in the event that the employee is no longer eligible or terminates with the company. So we start here with eligibility. We can see in our drop-down menu, we have a few options. Now, if all employees within the company are eligible for the plan, we'll simply select everyone. Moving into the coverage waiting period. If we have a waiting period that differs between employee groups, we can select something like class. Here we can see that we have the ability to set two different parameters. So let's say for our full-time employees, we have a 0-day waiting period. But for our part-time, we have a larger. Selecting Add allows us to now add a separate waiting period for our part-time employees. Here we can change it to 30 days. But regardless of your waiting period, the entry rules are the same for both. So here in our Coverage Begins section, we're going to drop down and we're going to say All Eligible. And coverage will begin first of the month following or first of the month after. And then lastly, we need to tell the system what to do when an employee becomes ineligible for benefits or is no longer employed. So here in our drop-down menu, best practice is to set the rule for everyone unless there is truly a difference in those rules. And for a medical benefit, we know that this benefit is going to carry through the end of the month. Scrolling all the way down, as we're scrolling, we can see we can accommodate rules for rehires or demographic changes. But again, those are not required fields. And for our purposes today, we'll just select Save and get confirmation that those changes have been saved. Let's take a quick peek though at our checklist and see how we're doing. We can see that it's still incomplete, but we also see we've satisfied all the requirements for policy info. We've satisfied all the requirements for eligibility and enrollment. So next we need to move on to costs, and we're going to focus on rates and contributions. So navigating to the left panel, we'll go to cost and rates. Here we can see we first have to tell the system what type of rates we have for this medical plan. And in our drop-down menu, we have a couple of options for composite, ACA banded, or individual banded. Let's build a fun ACA plan. We can see based on the selection we chose there, we opened some additional fields here. We can select whether or not there are tobacco rates or if there's independent geographic rating, but for our purposes, this is a pretty basic plan. So we're just going to leave this here. Child's are being rated as an adult when they turn 21. The max number of children is 3, and their rates are going to be based on their age as of their effective date. So we'll go ahead and select Save here. Once we've completed our rates, we need to go over and actually enter those ACA rates. The easiest way to add ACA rates into the system is to select that they are based on, and in this case we'll say everyone, and add. And the system's only going to require you to enter the rate for a 21-year-old. For our 21-year-old rate, our rate is $130.92. We'll hit Create, and we can see here we've now populated the table for those rates. Everything looks good. We're giving this a quick look through to make sure it matches what our carrier provided to us, and we'll select Save. From here, we know the only other thing we needed to add were those contributions, so we'll go over to that left navigation and select Contributions. Here we'll see we can define the contributions. First, we have to say who the contributions are based on. If all employees get equal contributions, we can simply select everyone. Otherwise, we can define rules based on different classes, departments, divisions, and so on. Let's make this easy. We'll just say everyone gets the same employer contribution. We'll select Add. So here we have traditional contributions, although we could have individual contributions if needed, but let's go ahead and enter those traditional contributions. So here we have a few options for the employee-only level of coverage. We can choose to either set the dollar amount that the employee is required to pay, a percentage of their earnings, a flat dollar amount that the company contributes, or a company contribution in a percentage format. In our case, let's do things the easy way and just say that the employer pays 75% of the employee's coverage. So we'll select company contribution percentage and enter 75. This company also chooses to contribute 50% towards any covered dependent. So in our employee and spouse tier level, we'll look at our drop down and we'll see a new option, additional company percentage. We'll select that and we'll enter 50. And we'll continue to do that for all the remaining tier levels. And what this will do is, again, allow the employee to receive 75% of the cost of their coverage and a 50% contribution towards any dependent that's being covered. Once we've finished entering all of our contribution levels, to save the changes on the page, simply select Save. And voila, we've saved our contributions. But we can also now see that our red icon has changed to green. We hover over, we can see that we're ready for enrollment. If we click the icon, we can confirm that there are still things that are recommended to be completed but are not required. So our checklist is considered complete. And we now see we have a new icon that tells us that we are ready to activate the enrollment. In order to activate the enrollment, we simply select the link and select Turn On for Enrollment. Confirm, and enrollment is now on. Returning back to our Benefits tab, we can see we now have an active plan.